my relation to Kurama MGTOW. Now, when I was heavy on MGTOW, there was this girl named Jasmine at my job, and she pulled the scheme, pulling the teenage shit, asking for me to put a ring on it, and I fucked around and agreed with it. But at the time, right after that happened, I got home and I listened to Kurama MGTOW's videos, and that wasn't the first one I saw, but I watched it in the same day. And the great thing about that is me and Jasmine did not work out for a very good reason, and the reason why I'm making this video is because Kurama MGTOW inspired me to make my profile videos. Kurama let me know something, that I am not alone in life and that I was not missing out on much, but it is very, very, very insightful to know. So, one thing I have to get out the way is me and Kurama both took karate classes at the YMCA. We didn't go to the same one, but I realized that when I got roasted for the very first time by someone I didn't like is when he mentioned the YMCA, and I listened to Kurama's video and it really let me know a lot. This is back when I was way better than anything that they ever thought of, that anything that they can ever accomplish. Well, I've already made it, but I was just reminiscing on life, because the great thing about Kurama is I just got to reflect on it instead of it being an emergency. I pitied MGTOW. I thought it was stupid, but he was the only one I listened to because he and I relate on a personal level. I went through the exact same thing with girls, and the worst part about it was Kurama made the statement that I had to learn how to get women all over again because of clout. Me, I had to learn how to let go of a specific type of woman in order to stay away from those type of girls that Kurama was getting attracted by. I relate to every single Kurama video and how you have to be a little bit feminine in order to know how to be masculine. I express that thoroughly. A very colorful wardrobe, but also underneath is a solid foundation of wisdom. He talks about everything I relate to. You have them until you need them. Exactly what happened with me and Abby. Kurama was on a hype that I was already on, but it wasn't specifically to avoid women. It was to avoid people in general. For me, it was to avoid people like Justin. It was to avoid people like Arturo. And Kurama just let me know a whole lot about why I left the life I left, because I realized that being mature was better, and that we both listened to Coach Red Pill, and it was very informative when I listened to him, because I didn't know everything about female nature, about how they try to punk everyone. I literally thought that they were just trying to punk me. I'm like, they have the audacity to punk him? And it really let me know that why they're entitled. I didn't know that there was a Disney side of woman. There was a anime video I made called The Anime Spell that was specifically made for otakus to learn what's the difference between anime and reality, and why it feels so similar but it cannot and can never be real life, and why it has to be exaggerated. Is the exact same reason why Kurama made that video about women's expectations in society, and why I combine that with trying to tell anime fans that it's not all on the surface level that you think it is, and not every bad guy is bad. Some people are forced to be bad, but one thing I noticed from me and Kurama is I listened to him where I was already a dad. And since he doesn't have a kid yet, I kind of noticed the flaws in his work, and I challenged Kurama to a game of, do you lower your standards to get women in a live stream? And he responded, the funniest thing is like, oh, they're too hard to fuck. And you know what? I realized the difference between dimes and alrights, and the reason why dimes are so hard to get. And there's truth behind what he's saying. Dimes are not easy to obtain, because dimes are something that you literally have to put in work to have consistency with. And that is one thing that a hood nigga fails and that I learned the hard way, is that it's not even a dime's approval. It's literally, it's the conditioning in society. It's two, it's a standard of being civilized. Is why you have to deal with hypergamy. You have to deal with hypergamy. But the great thing is, Kurama also knows that it doesn't take money to get women, and that he understands that. But what he doesn't understand is how to escalate from a choosing signal. I've related to him a lot how to lie to women and gain their interest to actually get them to be biased is actually to be real. I've done that a lot of times, but in other times, I realized that Kurama and me are two different people because I improvise and I do other stuff with women, and I have no idea why he considered them sluts. Because I was getting along with women that were 26 and up, women that were 30, 33, and they were all virgins. And so when Kurama kept on calling women whores and this and that, like they have a high body count, I believed him because of all the rap I was listening to. It was so funny because I was listening to nothing but Arturo rap. And they were always talking about metaphors about how she's sucking dick like she's brushing teeth and shit. I've used that in the song because of all the Bay Area rap I listen to. He says the exact same thing that they're saying in their songs, but he says it in a manner that's trying to tell people to be graceful. And I've seen right through their stereotypes. I've listened to people false preach about pussy ain't shit, yet in the DMs they are praying for pussy, and it really, really hurt. It really, really hurt when I realized that MGTOW is for a lot of butthurt men, but it's also for men to go through struggle. I've had a MGTOW moment when I was in high school, and that's it. And that's why I thought MGTOW was completely stupid, but I literally just stuck around for Kurama because all the stories that he was telling were very interesting, and I can always relate to them. One thing I do have to say about Kurama is he went to public school when I didn't, so I didn't get the same view as girls. The same view of girls as he did. And Kurama really taught me something about women and why I don't want to go too far, but why I need to go far enough in order to realize the flaws of how he views women, but why he views women like that. It's very similar to what my anti-brother Achachi was trying to tell me about how girls are stupid and how this and that, and he was literally trying to help me get past hypergamy, saying, oh, you just have to give him a little bit of something, and that's not true at all. And the reason why I want to state this is because hypergamy and me have never had a problem because I've had a personality that outdoes all the material things. And Kurama struggled with trying to get 10s and 9s. When I asked him on a live stream, he said, I'd rather go for 5s and 6s. I'm like, Arturo goes for 5s and 6s, and that's why he only got stuck with 1, because you need to aim higher for better results. And that's why I created Neji MGTOW. I really created Neji MGTOW after the incident at Fanme. I was trying to stay away from the fast life. I created a MGTOW channel because I was trying to get money to support my family, and it really pissed me off that MGTOW became a dead subject after that happened. And the real reason why I have to state this is because Kurama changed his name from Kurama to Hiei MGTOW after the first Fanme where I blew up. Literally, I was laughing at MGTOW at the time, like, I just got done doing all this at Fanme. Why does MGTOW exist? And I know why MGTOW exists. Because of my first girl in 7th grade that literally showed me the utmost validation, but pulled back when I finally decided to get serious, was Lena. Lena is the basis of MGTOW, and Lena is the basis of every Kurama video. What happened was this, is I had no social skills when I was in 7th grade. I was doing crazy shit for attention, but whenever I hung around a black girl, they would always give me validation, no matter how awkward I was in front of all the other races. So I've always had validation with Lena, and she had fat ass, great titties, everything you would want in a girl. And it was crazy because she invited me over to her birthday party. When this happened, I don't want you to take Seymour's philosophy seriously, because he came to me C came to me saying, "Oh, you're hella fine, this and that." But when it came down to it, I went over to her party and her mom told her to give me a lap dance. And I want you guys to understand, how can Seymour be wrong when everything you want in a girl, invite you over to her house and everything? How can anything go wrong? Because you didn't take charge. You didn't take control. You let her drag you by the arm instead of you dragging her by the arm. And what I mean by that is, C controls where it goes because C started it. And after she gave me the lap dance, my dick is hard as fuck, and I ask her out. I'm all like, "Will you go out with me?" After all that, and she's all like, "No, this and that." And I'm trying to say, and I repeat, I'm like, "What?" She's like, "No, it doesn't matter if you're fine, this and that." I'm like, "What?" She's like, "I'm not like that. Just because I did this and that doesn't mean we can go this and there. I still have family. I still have little kids to take care of. I still have a little sister, this and that." Oh. It was a family party. It wasn't a quirking party. It was a family party. So that means I'm in the friend zone. No matter what freak dance I got from her, I did not get any signal that I can get in her pants. That fat ass and those big titties gave me blue balls all the way from 7th grade until I graduated from high school, because I let it come to me and I didn't take charge of a man saying, "Are we going out or not?" I'm not gonna have this flaky shit. You gotta understand, no matter how physically attractive you are to a woman, they will not care unless you make it prominent. You have to make it alert. You have to plant your flag. You have to prove your dominance. You have to literally do everything about that before she even thinks about manipulating you. Now, Lena's a girl in 7th grade who doesn't have any idea what manipulation is, so if you're asking where she gets it from, it's natural. She believes in you the Disney fantasy way. That's why she's quirking, but she's not fucking. You are Prince Charming. You need to be the Beast. You need to let her know that she cannot get away with shit like that. She cannot tease you and get away with it. You have to call it out. And Kurama and me created that generation where we have a backup plan. If you try to talk to us stupid, we already have something on standby. And that's the whole reason why MGTOW was created. A lot of beta males fail to prove their dominance. A lot of beta males go out, get the dates and this and that, and have the same social signals that Lena gave me, but never get the push, never get anything, but they have tons of validation, and we don't need that. I'm not saying that we need to manipulate, like, all or none. I'm like, if you're gonna keep it at friend level, keep it at friend level. When you're physically attractive and the leaks fall through, she can get a little bit of freaky with you, but then she's got to pull back because she's got to take it as you little kid shit. I'm like, no, this is an actual physical problem. And that's what Kurama states in his videos. I can tell Kurama has yes and no's. And the reason why I transitioned to work is because this tied heavily into the work. They still have the Disney fantasy when they try to make you a beta male provider, but when you prove that there are other things in life that you prefer other than her vagina cannot control you, and that is when they leak through. That is when they will give you something sexual, but ask for some in return. So what you have to do is, if they give you tons and tons of ammo to use against her, you hold back and you use those ammos against her if she tries to make it go serious. That's what happened to me in high school. Is a girl kept on teasing me in front of her friend, and when it came down to it, I couldn't get in trouble because we had tons and tons of messages on Facebook saying we love each other. So, literally, that's what created MGTOW. That secret's right there with my girlfriend pulling back at the last minute because of her Disney fantasy, flexing in front of her friends. She didn't tell me to be there. She told me to be somewhere else, but I didn't read the message because I didn't have a phone at the time. But that all ties into MGTOW because they make you feel entitled and then they pull back. And the thing with Kurama is, when Kurama gets choosing signals, I can just tell on the outside it's him and it's them. But it's mostly them. But Kurama falls for them. And I'm not taking shots at Kurama. I'm saying that this is a factual statement that it happens to everyone because that's what happened on my job. As I said in previous videos, that when girls are on you, whether you get another one, and that is why I love Kurama's channel. I can relate to it, but where he fails at and where I succeed at is because I'm already a dad. I know how the end result is going to be. I know to keep it out the void. I know to not mess with any manipulation. Kurama used to be, he's very smart, But he used to be dumb enough to think that he can manipulate a girl without having the sleazeball follow him. What you have to do is you have to not even try. You see, there's a thing with Kurama, and he doesn't have an ego. It's based off experiences. Nothing happened to do with his ego. It used to get away for a while, but when you're out in the real world where people are literally connected on top of connected and they're trying to look for you and shit, is why I respect this channel, and is why I know the difference between right and wrong. It's not the fact that I'm better than Kurama, and the reason why it's the fact that I haven't even dealt with the shit that Kurama has dealt with. So Kurama has been there, done that with women, but me, I'm all like, no, there's more to woman than just what meets the eye, and that's why I learned you can give them something real, so the Disney fantasy doesn't exist to a point where they don't want the Disney fantasy anymore. They want you to be real now, because if you go back to Disney fantasy, it's gonna turn them off. That's why they love alpha males, because alpha males come at them at a real secret. That's like me. I come at them, I'm all like, hey, what's good? Are you gonna do it or not? If not, I'm gonna get back to work. But instead of you having a nasty attitude, you could be like, hey, what's going on, this and that. And if they try to pull some manipulation shit, don't even take it as some dramatic shit. Just laugh. Just laugh. Be like, ha ha ha. Oh, you said something different earlier. Kurama literally let me know a whole lot that I'm not too different, but me and him are awfully different, because he goes into politics where I don't even believe in politics. I don't fuck with politics. I stay out the way. A lot of people call me a little kid. Why do I get results? Why did they resort to do stupid shit like hacking me and shit? They hack Kurama's shit too. You're not. So it happens to everyone. I know I'm not special. They used to treat me like I'm special when I was young, but after I had to fight for my resources, after I was put in a situation where I had to focus on food more than woman, is the time where I learned that you have them until you need them. The best part about Kurama is he doesn't just bash women. He talks about health issues. He talks about people in general. He talks about snakes. And I agree with him. When I listen to that one, when he's all like, most of the women are sluts and this and that, he's talking about metaphorically. Now, the reason why I agree with him is that they are metaphoric sluts. I've met a whole that really fit the description of a slut, but really they're just a little girl for attention. I'm like, that is a cold recipe for disaster. The difference between me and Kurama is he states that women are children, and I'm like, they're children compared to men, but they're not children compared to little boys. And little boys in MGTOW who complain about women, that is why they keep on winning. That is why women keep on getting over those little boys, because they think just because you call it out that it's gonna stop. No, when you call it out, that's when they chase you like a fucking sleazeball. So what you have to do is you have to go Gohan on them and be like, I'm gonna ask you a good question that's gonna keep me safe, that's gonna answer everything in one sentence. So you don't even think about manipulating me, and you don't even think about asking me dumb questions back. When I said I was Itachi's mentor over on my MGTOW channel, you can check in their description. I wasn't his mentor. I was a fan of him, but I was a father, so I didn't think MGTOW was shit. And I've never been in a situation where I've had to go to divorce court, and I'm like, damn, this is really real. But all the other people are bitching and complaining, and that's what I love about MGTOW. Some are good and some are not. It's not a general thing. And it's a complex thing, and that's why not everyone's the fucking same. Some of them are on different levels, and the fact that I love when people look at the word MGTOW and say, ah ha ha, MGTOW ain't shit, MGTOW is a bunch of this and that. Okay, have you ever been in a MGTOW situation? And the difference between me and him is, I don't consider them too much about little girls, because if they're such little girls, then how come you can't get them as easily as I can? Kurama was amazed, but he wasn't, and he knows how women work. And the thing about me and women is that me and Kurama both know that they would rather you kiss them instead of ask to kiss them at a party. And that's how women work, and me and Kurama know that. Me and Kurama know that women react better physically when you stand up to them than when you try to butter them up. But he is straight on point. I made a response video to the bad guy will never win, and you know why? It's because you may be more than a nerd, but you will never be more than a man. And yes, Kurama is right. The best way to treat them is that sees one of many, and that you're not afraid to lose her. You're not afraid to discard her. You're not afraid to hold anything. That's a general thing on life. Now, if you want to be a retard and say women are objects, Your favorite souvenir you have to throw out if you're too addicted to it, if it becomes detrimental, if it becomes everything. You have to throw out something in order to discard it. There was a time where I was about to throw away everything, and like BoJack Horseman said, when you're willing to sacrifice everything is when you truly get a chance to be happy. Shout out to Kurama's ritual talks about how he's so calm, cool, and collect, and how let nature flow, this and that. He is absolutely correct when it comes to multidimensionality, when it comes to laws of nature. Kurama is 100% correct. I respect him to the fullest extent because you don't know why. I would rather listen to him than listen to some random MGTOW talk about why he can't go on, oh, how women play them, this and that. Why don't you talk about how you got back on women?